Hello, this is Alex. Welcome to your first yoga philosophy class. Before we begin, I would like to share my vision of yoga philosophy. Through 15 years of teaching experience, I learned that having the appropriate vision, this yogic vision and understanding of yoga philosophy is a key to success in yoga. It is today very often considered as theory. However, it has always been part of the practice. When we will study Ashtanga Yoga, the eight-limb path, Svadhyaya, or studying of scriptures, studying of yogic philosophy, and contemplating sutras, studying all those concepts, how we can relate to them, how they can change our perception and change the way we think. All this was integral part of the practice and included in yoga systems that were developed in ancient times. So, in the same way, like when you want to plant a seed, you need to prepare a soil, you need air, you need some sunshine, you need water. So then you can place the seed in the soil and it will grow into something beautiful and useful. And if you don't do that, then most likely it won't work. So same here in yoga, we need to prepare the ground. We need to form this yogic vision. We need to be able to create conditions, and in these conditions, yogic practice becomes fruitful. So then the seed grows. So I invite you to have this approach, to see it as part of your day-to-day practice. Secondly, when we will study this, or when you do it also by yourself, studying scriptures, trying to understand how yoga works, you will see that sometimes it is challenging because we have certain beliefs, we have opinions, we have a mindset which we use in our day-to-day life, and basing on this mindset, we act, we perceive life through the lens of our mindset. We see situations and we judge according to our mindset. So our mindset becomes a program that determines the way we see things, the way we act and react. In yoga, we need different type of mindset, not the one that we're using to be successful in business or in other fields of study. Yeah, we need a mindset that is first of all open mindset, okay? Like a beginner's mind where you are not holding on to your opinions and beliefs. Okay, so when you find something challenging, I invite you to at least assume possibility that this can be so. When yogis were developing yoga and practices and yogic philosophy, they were documenting what they experienced in their deep meditations, their insights, their realizations. And out of that place, they were creating sutras and those texts that we can read about what is reality, what we are in the essence. We're not there. We're not seeing this as they were seeing this after their meditations. So as long as we're here, we need to be able to open our mind and be able to accept that, okay, maybe it is so I will not be resisting. I will be open, I will be practicing, and this openness will lead you to realization. If we start resisting, it was like, no, I don't like it, or no, it's not like this, or no, it is, because it is contradicting your beliefs, which we get our beliefs from our families, from our society, it's not something that we are for sure that is true. Yeah, we learned that at school, or someone told us, and now we think this is true. Now we think this is real. We're basing our understanding of reality on our limited perception. Our senses are very limited. We can see and hear in only a small range of waves, and everything else is unperceivable for our senses. And what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we touch, becomes our reality. We start thinking that this is true. This is how everything is. And since then, we find ourselves in a box of opinions and beliefs that are based on our limited perception. So to get out of this box, and this is a very important part in yoga practice. To get out of this box, we need to be able to let go of, or at least put down for some time, our beliefs and opinions, and explore what is offered by yoga, by yoga philosophy. Again, it is a compilation of realizations and insights of yogis. It's not that someone just intellectually created some ideal philosophy or way to see life. These are all experience-based realizations documented in ancient texts. So today, I would like to have a short overview of yoga history, the roots of yoga, and then how it evolved into what we call yoga today. I think it's worth mentioning that we don't know exactly where yoga came from. There are many arguments. Scholars argue. One say that it was developed in northern India. Others say that it was brought there and appeared much earlier. So we don't know. But first evidences are found there in northern India. And common opinion is that origins of yoga dates back to pre-Vedic Indian traditions. Before Vedas were created, Vedas are the most ancient layer of Indian literature. Before Vedas were created, this knowledge is said to be transmitted through the word of mouth. So we cannot really say how long was it happening, but the earliest Vedas are dated 1,500 years before Common Era. So about 3,000 years ago, we have those concepts documented in Vedas, and then they were taken by yogis. So such concepts as Sat, for example, which literally means what is or truth, Rita, or a divine law of truth. So this truth is manifested through the divine law, and everything that is happening in alignment with this law. And within ourselves, this law is manifested as dharma. Okay, this concept was also taken by yogis. Dharma is a certain right way of living in alignment with this divine law. And also yajna, which can be translated as offering or sacrifice, as a way to stay connected to this divine essence and be aligned with this divine law. So through rituals, which were the main part of Vedic spiritual tradition, through rituals we can reconnect with the essence of what we are and be in harmony with the divine law of existence. So we have those concepts, and also in one of the hymns of Rig Veda, the earliest text, we find a hymn which is called Kesin hymn. Kesin literally means a long-haired one. And this hymn describes people who were having long hairs, and they were traveling, they didn't have any clothes or maybe just a robe, and they had some supernatural powers. They were talking to beings that are not seen by ordinary people, and they were being able to connect to forces of nature. So this is another evidence, and these people can be considered as first yogis, that are mentioned also in those texts. However, in this Vedic period, we don't yet see yoga practices as we see them now. These practices appeared in the next period, which is called post-Vedic period. And it begins from 8 to 600 years BC. So, in this period in India, many cities are developed, and due to this change, people start facing many challenges, like increased death rate, lots of disease, and there are more and more rich people who are suppressing, manipulating, and using poor people. And in this situation, many people start questioning life. Is it the way it should be? Like, what is the reason for all those sufferings? What determines the flow of life? What is the meaning of life? And is there something that is worth living, and even when there are so many sufferings? Like, what is this truth about life? And those people were going away from cities, and they formed communities that were called shramana communities, and the places where they stayed were called ashrams. So within those communities, those strivers for truth were trying to find the meaning of life. And the main tool that they used was meditation. And yoga, in Asian texts, is a synonym to meditation, or a synonym to samadhi, the ultimate state of meditation. Yoga is derived from the Sanskrit root yuj, which means to join, to unite. And so the best way to translate it into English is union or connection. Connection with this divine essence of what we are. And also it can signify a range of practices that was developed and used to establish this connection, to reconnect with the true self, with the universal consciousness, or unite with this consciousness. So this was done through meditation. And then meditation was supported by many other methods, like, for example, breath work, because yogis realized that our mind is linked to our breath. And when we worry, our breath becomes shallow and irregular, but when we make it deep and regular and long, then our mind comes down. So this was used to promote calmness of the mind and then meditate. Also, stillness was a very important part of the practice, which is done through asana. Original meaning of asana is a sitting posture for meditation. So yogis were sitting for a long time, just sitting and directing their focus inside and looking for this essence, observing the changing movements of the mind, because when you go inside, you notice that thoughts are coming, some sensations, and you might react to these sensations, and your mind is distracted. So they were trying to find a way to be more focused and to still the mind. And this was done through stillness of the body, then through stillness of breath. Yeah, first you slow down your breath and then you hold your breath. And this helps you to tap into this stillness, to experience the unchanging part of reality. Because changing part is something that doesn't last long. And if you're attached to this changing reality, then it will inevitably lead to suffering. And the way to overcome suffering is to become aware, to experience the unchanging self. And this was done through meditation, through stillness. So this is where the core practices develops, and since then we see the continuous evidences of yoga and yogic traditions. And yoga becomes then more and more popular, and Buddha is teaching by that time. He was also one of the members of Shramana communities. If you know the story that Gautama Buddha ran away from home, and this is where he went. Yeah, this is where he started his journey, and then he developed knowledge that he got there into his system, and he called it Eightfold Path. So in the same time, there was a sage Patanjali who wrote his Yoga Sutras, and he also calls his path Ashtanga Yoga, or which means eight-limb path or eightfold path. And many systems exist that day. We will be basing on Ashtanga Yoga on our classes, which is classical Ashtanga Yoga. Please don't mix it with morning Ashtanga. And this path is a compilation of most important and effective methods that were used that day. So we can say that Yoga Sutras is a complete system of yoga, and following it, we can achieve good results, and we can have some understanding of what yoga was that day. So it is slowly developed, And then it becomes more and more popular. And in the beginning of Common Era, yoga goes to householders. So people who are having families, who are having businesses, they also are interested in this practice, and it becomes more opened by that time. And there needs some new ways to practice, because one way is to renounce social life and devote your life to self-realization. Another, and in this renunciation, your mind is a certain state. It's quite calm. You don't have to deal with those day-to-day problems. You're not raising kids. You're not having problems at work. But when you're involved in life, then you need other tools. And these tools were developed within a spiritual movement that is called Tantra. And main tantric texts, the core tantric texts, were written from 6 to 900 of Common Era. And this is the tradition that is based on non-dual philosophy, which states that all is one, and the essence, the spirit or the true self, is present everywhere, and we can experience it not renouncing life, but continue living, being involved in all our everyday activities, but still stay connected, still be aware of it, and also overcome suffering. Okay, so this is the essence of Tantra Yoga. And new tools are applied. So we can use our body. Body is reevaluated, and we use body in our practice. Yeah, we use breath, we use visualization, we use mantras a lot, and we also use rituals. Because again, when you are doing many things, you are easily distracted. Your focus goes away. And focus is the most important thing in yoga. We need to be focused on our goal. Yeah, we need not easily distracted. So through rituals that we do every day, when we wake up, when we cook, or after we cook, before we eat, those rituals like offering food, for example, before you eat it, this helps to stay tuned to this process of contemplation and be always on the path, whatever you do. Yeah, so just using those small rituals. Also, through mantra, through breath work and body work, it's easier to trap your mind. Yeah, because again, it is not in that calm state as when you are staying in a cave or in a forest or in a mountain or in a temple. You're always dealing with a lot of stuff, and you need some effective tricks to trap your mind and to experience what is beyond the mind. Okay, so these things are developed within Tantra tradition. And also, one of the branches that was developed was called Hatha Yoga. And Hatha Yogis were more and more using body and breath, and then through this activating energy pathways and using bandhas and mudras to direct energy, to transform the energy flow, which led to transformation of consciousness and expansion of consciousness. So the text we're gonna study is called Hatha Yoga Pradipika, which was written in 15th century. And it explains like this process of strengthening your body, then purification, and then how to work with the energy in order to achieve samadhi. And through samadhi, I achieve the state of yoga or union. And this one of the reasons for which this Hatha yoga became popular is that day there was a Muslim invasion in India, and a lot of rituals, practices, a lot of knowledge that was used was prohibited or even destroyed. So Hatha yogis were mainly using their body and their breath and the energy, so this tradition was less esoteric. Yeah, there were less rituals than in other traditions. So maybe this is why it became so popular by that day, and more texts were found later. The whole period is kind of troublesome for yoga, and then British rule comes, and yoga is prohibited, and a lot of knowledge is lost. And then only in 18th and 19th century, when first of all Westerners are interested in yoga, and yogis start traveling to the West, and also start attracting followers. And due to efforts of yogis such as Yogendra, Krishnamacharya, Swami Vivekananda, yoga attracts foreigners. And what is interesting is that in order to attract foreigners, many yogis had to do it through physical practice, because this is appealing and this is easy to understand, easy to start doing, because it takes a lot of time to study philosophy, to learn how to meditate, to see what transformations should be happening that lead to yoga. But this was very appealing, very effective, and they were doing those shows with young, strong boys that were actually gymnasts, and they were showing those tricks and attracting followers. And this is how we get this physically based or asana based yoga that was then brought to Europe and then to the United States. Some of those students or boys, they were learning this when they were teenagers, and it was very natural for them to study this. So then they left the teacher, Krishnamacharya, who is considered as a father of modern yoga, or maybe grandfather, because his students, mainly two of them, Iyengar and Pattabhi Jois, when they left, they created their own style. Yes, sometimes we might think that they were learning from great yogis for all their life, but they were getting some knowledge. Mainly this was physically based yoga, like a preparation. Yeah, well, like the same way when you want to play football, first you need to cut grass, and then you start playing football. So this physical part is this preparation where you just getting ready, and when your grass is cut, then you can actually start playing. Okay, so this process of cutting grass was easily taken and called yoga, and then it was popularized. And our ego is interested in this. Yeah, you get strong, you get flexible, you get healthy, though it was not what yoga was about, yeah, but it was the deep aspects of yoga. The original yoga was, on the one hand, kept secret. This is also possible, but maybe it just took long time to do this. So our westernized mind is willing to have fast results. Yeah, we need effect tomorrow or in a week. Deep transformative practices take months, and they give those results where your way of thinking changes, the way you act and react to things. We will see how this works on a deeper level, and then transformation happens. So these physical aspects were popularized, and those two styles became extremely popular. One is called Iyengar Yoga, developed by Iyengar, and Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga, developed by Pattabhi Jois. They were, for some time, they were students of Krishnamacharya. So 90% of modern yoga is a compilation or mixture of those two styles. Usually Iyengar's yoga would be called like Hatha or classical Hatha, and Pattabhi Jois's Ashtanga would be called Ashtanga Vinyasa or Vinyasa, or if these two are mixed, you would see Hatha Flow, for example. Yeah, it's kind of a mixture of Iyengar's yoga and Pattabhi Jois's Ashtanga Vinyasa yoga. Then we have those styles that are called Vinyasa and others. Also, there are other branches that I'm not covering because it is a small percentage. We have Kundalini Yoga, we have Kriya Yoga, and we have Shivananda's lineage. So there are other lineages, but these two became mostly popular in the West. And then, when they became popular in the West, then they became more popular in India as well. So when you go to India, you will find this, because this is what market offers, and this is what people easily buy. So this is what is offered as yoga today. And I believe that being yoga teachers, and maybe even if you just want to see what really yoga is, it's quite important to bridge these two things. The modern understanding of yoga and the yoga as it is prescribed in ancient texts. And seeing maybe both, analyzing both, studying both, we can find a way to make modern yoga work and help us to achieve deeper states. Yeah, how it can guide us. It is possible. Because if we don't do that, we're just staying in a physical level, and then it's not different from any other kind of fitness. Yeah, we will have same results doing other fitnesses. And not working out, but working in doing this practices, we can start moving in the right direction and finally come to same realizations as ancient yogis, and achieve that state which is peace and a state free from suffering. I invite you to join me in this journey, and starting next class we will dive into the roots of yoga philosophy, and we will study Samkhya philosophy, which is the mother of all philosophies, and philosophy where all yogas are rooted. So see you next time.